Welcome, everybody. James Larsen here with the USFL Newsroom. I'm joined by New Jersey Generals defensive tackle Toby Johnson, two times all USFL honors. How you doing today, Toby?
I'm doing good, man. Thank y'all for having me today.
Absolutely. Appreciate you coming on the show. A lot going on in your world. I mean, you have had quite the journey, not just over the past couple years, but really just throughout your entire career. Before we get into all those details, I'd love to ask you just first question here. What got you to love the game of football?
Uh, a funny story is, I was dating this girl or whatever in high school, and I ain't started playing football until my junior year of high school. But I was dating this girl. I thought I was gonna go. I was going to the NBA. I thought I was LeBron James. I was going to the NBA, and the girl dad used to come pick me up all the time. He was our football coach at the school and athletic director. He passed away a couple years ago. His name was Ed Gosa. But yeah, he told me if he gonna be coming to get me every every weekend and dropping me off and doing all that, I gotta do him a favor. And his favor was to just come out there to see if I liked it. Just give him a chance. Just give one chance. If I liked it, if I didn't like it, I ain't have to play it. But if I liked it, to stick with it. So I told him, next season that I was gonna do it, and I ended up going out there for a day. They had me on special teams, and I was an athletic dude back then. I was like probably like 230. I was running, and had me on, and I was just running down there, just making tackles, doing all type of crazy stuff. I'm like, okay, I actually like this. I can, hit guys and be out there with a lot of my friends too, because a lot of my friends they did both. They played basketball and football. So, eventually I grew to love the game over that year. Then the next year, going into my senior year, it was just on and rocking from there. I just started getting like um, a lot of looks and stuff from different schools. I'm taking these what you call the camps, like the visits to camps to Auburn's, Tech, Georgia. We're going a lot of different places. And that's when 7-on-7 was just, starting to pick up. And we had won like a couple 7-on-7 tournaments, and they would let me touch the ball. Back then I played tight end. So that's kind of what the 88 came about. I played tight end at the end. So
Right on. That's really interesting. Yeah, I was doing a little bit of research on your story here, and I noted so you played at Banneker High School,
yeah.
and you did football, basketball, also track and field.
Mm-hmm.
I also saw that you earned all state honors as a tight end, and then all region recognition as a defensive end. So, you're winning two different awards for two different positions there. Can you take me just through that and how you not only just started playing the game so late in your career, but also just went off right away?
Nah, as far as the tight end position, I was more so that was natural, catching basketballs and doing a lot of agility work. You run a lot in basketball, suicides and all that different types of stuff. And like I said, I was more athletic than I said a linebacker at the time, or so that just came natural for me. Catching the ball was always natural. I had to work on the routes and stuff a little bit, but all that stuff kind of came natural. So, I was able to score, quite a few touchdowns, shockingly. I tell guys that all the time. They be like, man, you ain't scoring. So I had to pull up the film, I had to let them know. So, yeah, that's really what that came about. As far as DN, I always been one of the bigger guys. I won't say I was big, but I was big. Like 230, that's big in high school. Like that's big. And I was always a big dude, so I was always physical, more physical than a lot of the. I played basketball, but I coming on the field just running into somebody that was like normal to me. So I did that. And I ended up liking the defense more than I did offense because I ain't like getting hit. Seeing a guy like myself come trying to tackle me, that just wasn't for me. So, so I kind of stuck with that defense side of the ball.
Right on. No, that's awesome. So I guess it was kind of at this point, or maybe when you started going to college, was there like a point in your career where you realized that like, hey, I can do this professionally, and like, was there a moment of realization for you, or did it just kind of come to profession there?
I ended up, I had like little schools and stuff looking at me at the time. That was right before Georgia State got their program. I'm older, so right before Georgia State got their program, they was looking at me, Savannah State. A lot of colleges were looking at me to play O-line, some on tight end, some on D end. But I ended up had to go to junior college because of my grades. I never really thought about, I was going to even be able to go to college for real. I was just playing sports because I was always good at it growing up. And that was just it's something I enjoyed doing. That was something to take me away from the house and stuff like that. So yeah, I ended up had to go to junior college out in Kansas because of my grades. And got out there. When I got out there, junior college, they have a lot of placement guys that D1, the D1 schools are like place them there because of the grades or any little thing happen. They have a lot of guys that was at D1 schools and got kicked out for whatever reason and whatever. So I got out there and I was just, doing summer workouts. We running, we lifting and stuff. I'm talking to the guys. I'm getting to know my teammates. They telling me they committed to like West Virginia, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, like Ole Miss. We had guys come from all like, I'm like, what? And I couldn't get not one offer. Hold on here. So yeah, my freshman year, that was kind of like an eye opening for me. So I'm just like, man, if I can just get one person to believe in me, it'd be over. So when I got out there, Brandon Staley, who's the head coach of the Chargers right now, Los Angeles Chargers, he was my defensive coordinator out there. So when I got out there, he kind of pulled me to the side. He was like, man, you can be special. And he was like, I'm not talking about like just on this level, like you can be special for real, for real. But like you just listen to what I tell you to do. We're gonna move you from the end, we're gonna put you at 3 technique. And just go from there. And I ended up, we had a scrimmage right before the season. And man, I'm no over exaggerating. I probably had like 5 sacks like in that scrimmage. Like doing the same move, I was so much quicker than guys. I'm just like, man, maybe I can do it for real. Cause we had guys like Tank Cordine, who went to Florida State. He ended up going to play in the league a couple years. DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory. We was all out there together. And these boys, they getting hyped and stuff. They all play defense side of the ball. And I'm just like, man, yeah, I can do this. Let me just stick to the plan, do what I got to do, and I can do it. So my freshman year, I had a really good year. Coming off that freshman year, the rankings and stuff, my freshman year, I ended up making first team, all that stuff. So I'm like, and when I'm on the list, I think I was probably one of the only freshmen on this list at the time. You go pull up this list from. And all the other guys, they was going straight to D1 and they was doing good. Like I'm talking about getting drafted and all type of stuff. So one of my close friends, CP Cordero Patterson, we kind of had a plan. We was gonna go to Tennessee together, and we was gonna play 1 or 2 years together, and then we was going to the league. So going into my second year there, I had a lot of buzz behind me. I was the #1 player in the nation at the time. So going into my thing, I had a lot of buzz, and that was shocking for me. Like I said, I didn't really have this coming out of high school. So getting these recognition, at the time I'm getting like every school in the world coming up there to see me, grabbing me out of class. We going to eat here, doing this, doing. I'm talking about they spending the whole day with me. Some of the top coaches in in college football at the time. So I got a lot of buzz behind my name and stuff at the time. And they telling me this too, like, Toby, you come to my program, like, which they asked me what I want to do at the time. Nick Fairley and Marcel Darius was kind of like those guys in college. Like, these was the guys. Like, I'm telling like, man, I want to be like one of those guys. I want to go to the SEC and I want to dominate. So, just watching them guys and stuff there do all that and, going to see them in person and getting around those guys, I'm like, man, they don't move as good as me. They may not even be strong as me. I'm saying in my head, like, man, I'm finna do this. So the whole plan was going to, after my sophomore year I was going to do a semester at one of the schools, either Georgia, Tennessee, Florida State. I think Oklahoma had came down to Oklahoma, one of my. I was going to do one semester and I was going to go to the league fresh off a semester. So I kind of already had a plan, talking to my brother or whatever, because he did it. Cordero Patterson, he ended up doing it. So during his draft process, you would think somebody getting ready to go first round, they'll be out partying and all that, but he down there with me. He came back to Kansas, and we just trained together, and hung out together and did stuff there the whole time. So watching him, do them 4 or 5 months there, then going first round, changing his family life, that just, that kind of really put me in a different mindset too. So, but my sophomore year, I ended up getting hurt. I tore my ACL, and that slowed me down.
Yeah, so that was actually one of my next questions for you is, you have a great career there at Hutchinson, Kansas, and then can you take me through the process of getting to Georgia and then, committing to Georgia, dealing with that injury, and then rebounding and just absolutely dominating there in your second season?
Um, I got hurt. I can't, like I said, when you at the top, guys really don't like that. So, going into every game, guys, they looking at me off the bus like, yeah, I want, I want Toby. He overhyped, he this, he that. And, we was playing one of our rivalry team, Coffeyville, and one of the guys chop blocked me, like just came and just did me dirty. So after that happened or whatever, I was devastated. I didn't even want to play my sophomore year anyway, because you would have had 3 years. I mean, I wanted to play 3 years in D1. If anything crazy would have happened, I knew I would have had 3 years to play. Being that I was so good, they weren't trying to let that happen. So I ended up getting hurt my sophomore year. I looked close to the end of the season, and I was devastated. I was coming out the field, man, I was crying and all that stuff because I didn't know, what was gonna happen. And soon I got in the locker room or whatever. Coach Rick and them was already on the phone, who was the head coach at Georgia, like already on the phone, like, we seen what happened. We was watching the game. You're gonna come here, you're gonna do your rehab, and we're gonna just go from there. So that was kind of one of the things that made me, go to Georgia, commit to Georgia and stuff, because, I had to take them other visits and stuff for my mom and my uncle and them, because they wanted to experience that, to get to fly across the country and, you know, just party crazy, buy what you want to buy. They wanted to experience that, and I was already pretty much set on Georgia. So that was kind of the reason I ended up choosing Georgia. Being that they had just lost in the SEC championship to Alabama that year, it was just crazy the times and stuff, like they would be contacting me, like they'll be at the game. I remember at halftime, I still got the messages on my Facebook and stuff like, D-line coach hitting me up like, I hope you watching this. We getting our tail kicked up front, like a guy like you can come in next year and we can just plug you right in. At the time, Coach G was Coach G was the D-line coach. Man, I wish I would have played him. His name Rodney Gardner. I think he's coaching in Tennessee right now. He like one of the highest paid D-line coaches in college football right now. But yeah, it was just crazy because they would just spend so much time with me and stuff. So yeah, I had to choose Georgia. My uncle and them was here, and I wanted to give my mom and them a chance to come watch me play, since they don't fly. Don't nobody in my family fly but me. So that was kind of another reason I had to come on home.
Right, right. No, that's awesome. And, to circle back to your injury, I mean, an ACL was no joke. Like we see stories of so many of these athletes that just can't come back from something like that. Can you take me through just what that process was like for you and just the mental fortitude you had to have to get through it? Because I mean, again, it's not easy.
Yeah, I give all the credit to my sponsor family, who's out in Kansas, Chrissy, Glenwall, and Mr. Glenn. Like they really, really, really like helped me throughout that whole process, because I told you, like, my family don't travel, and they took me in, and I actually stayed with them. They would take me to my appointments. There was this other lady named Miss Paula. She was like my tutor, trying to, because college and stuff had helped, put me a plan together to make sure I got out of that thing. So, she was another person I got to give the credit to. And just God, man. I got real big into my faith at the time. That was kind of, cause I thought I was on top of the world. Couldn't nobody tell me. Couldn't nobody tell me, what I wasn't about to do. My family was on top of the world, because at that time, I know it's illegal, but I had a lot of agents and stuff contacting me and stuff. Fresh out of my freshman year, going into my sophomore year, like they trying to persuade me to go to this school, that school, and they got connects with this, yeah. So that was kind of like a real big thing. So Yeah, man, it was just, like I said, with my faith in my drive, seeing because we had one other guy up there tear his ACL. I had a good doctor to do my ACL. His name was Dr. Lauren, and a good trainer. So I would just hit it. The first month was tough, like very tough. I couldn't move. You know how they tell you to fire your leg? My leg was like jello. It's already so big. I couldn't really shower on my own. They had to shower me, everything. So it was embarrassing the first go around. After like 2 or 3 months, you get to walking, breaking down the scar tissues and stuff. You get to building more and more confidence. And I think I got to Georgia right around like 5 months, 6 months, and they wanted me ready right then. So I really ain't had time to really, what I want to say, like really rest for real. I ain't had no time to really try to get back into the swings of things. Soon I got there, they was like, "We not redshirting you. We know what you can do. You're not redshirting, so take the red shirt out of your mind." I'm like, man, I slick because I really wanted the red shirt. I really want to give myself a full year to get acclimated to things, you know. But they did not. So I barely played my first year at Georgia. I barely played because of that right there. Like I was kind of scared and trying to regain confidence back in my knee.
Right. It just throws off your whole flow, basically.
Yeah, it took a different skill set away from me. I feel like now I used to be, going into Georgia, I was quote unquote known as a pass rusher. But when I got to Georgia, I feel like it slowed me down. Like I won't say it slowed me down. I say like I changed my game a lot. I got more nastier. Like I'd rather snatch pull a guy than try to cross chop him like Aaron Donald or something now. So I had to change my whole game around now.
Right, right. Yeah, so, you have a couple of great years there at Georgia. And then the next few years, different NFL stints, the Tennessee Titans, Jacksonville Jaguars, Chicago Bears, my Minnesota Vikings, the Panthers, the Lions. Can you just take me through that process of just bouncing from team to team, just trying to prove to one of these teams that, you belong, that you deserve playing time, and just dealing with the constant heartbreak of, being cut, released, signed, released. And yeah, can you
Yeah.
just take me through that?
Man, actually going into I had the Colts and the Browns basically tell me that they was gonna draft me in the fifth round. I'm talking about call me. I told one of my teammates I had at the time, Amalo Herrera, I told him he was finna get drafted by them before he even got drafted. It was crazy because they called me before. Was like, look, do you want to play? You want to play with your brother? I'm like, yeah, I want. So they ended up drafting him though in the fifth round. They had like two other draft picks. They ended up drafting the other D tackle from Stanford. So when I went undrafted or whatever, I went in with a mindset that I'm gonna show y'all. I know a lot of the guys that got drafted in that year. I was way better than like a lot better than. So going into when I got into Tennessee, I had a point to prove. Like I had a point to prove. So when I get to Tennessee, I had a lot of good vets around me at the time. With Al Woods, he was still holding it down. He 15 years strong now as a nose guard in the league. Big Sammy Lee, all of them. So, and I had Jarrell Casey. I had a lot of good guys around me that was, took me up under their wings. And really, soon I got there, I hit the ground running. Soon I got there, I remember my first game there, I got a game ball. So it was like it was just shocking. I had my whole family in the stands, and we played here with the Falcons. So that was probably like one of my best games. But leaving Tennessee or whatever, I got hurt in Tennessee. I got hurt the second preseason game. Everybody thought they was trying to hide me. You know how they hide a guy, an undrafted guy, because they don't want to. Everybody thought they was trying to hide me, but that wasn't really the case. I really got hurt there, and they really weren't trying to. Basically, they were trying to see. They really didn't want to try to put me on injury reserve or do none of that. So they was trying to see, do I want to try to take the settlement or what's called? But I'm like, I ain't taking no settlement. Like I can still play on it. Just give me some rest. But after the fourth preseason game, they like, we gotta let you go and all this stuff. I'm like, dang. So that was like my first real. Uh, that was like my first real like welcome to the NFL moment. Like how they got over on me. Like I could have took the money. I could have took the money and and been straight and, came back next year. But I had so much buzz. I had played so well in the preseason that I had so many teams calling me to the point where I'm like, man, I at least just want to be on the roster. Like, I don't care what it is. I just want to be on the team. So week one, like 3-4 days before week one, my rookie year, Jacksonville called me. Jacksonville was like, we ain't gonna even work you out. We want you so bad. Like, we know what happened. We ain't gonna work you out. We just want you to come here, try to learn the plays, and you learn the plays. We'll just go from there. I get to Jacksonville. I'm doing good. I'm balling. First 2 days of practice. Then we do one-on-one pass rush the third day. Boom, shoulder pop out of place. But I wouldn't put on the sling. They put me in the sling and do all that stuff, and I'm good. I'm good. Like, we played Carolina. Cam out there. Cam from College Park, where I'm from now. So, I'm chopping up with him before the game. We lit. Like, I'm like, man, I'm in the NFL. Like, I'm lit. The game, we played the game Sunday. Monday, we off. I'm going apartment hunting now because I'm fresh there. I'm the new guy there. I'm going apartment hunting. I get a call from Jacksonville. I'm like, what? What is this? So I answer the phone, like, hey, Jim want to speak to you and all this. I'm like, oh. So that was like hard, but that told me up because I had only been there for the week. I'm like, what the world? So I get in there. He like, yeah, Toby, you did all you can do here and do all this stuff. We brought you in because we one of our key guys, I forget his name at the time, but he was going to be out for a couple of weeks, and we needed a guy to come fill in. We knew, but they said they was going to bring me back, so I wasn't really tripping on that. Left there, and I just started training and stuff. My rookie year, I probably had over 20 workouts. That's no over exaggerating, like 20. So I'm on the flight every 2 or 3 days, flying to different state to state to state, working out for these teams or whatever. Then I catch on with the Bears at the end of the year. I catch on with the Bears. It was like right around December something. Caught on with the Bears, got there. I actually did good with the Bears. I don't understand why that happened, but I was doing real good with the Bears. And we had a Christmas party or something. And the Bears, they weird. They were very weird about body fat, stuff like they strict, like super strict by the book. We had a Christmas party. And we did good. We did it up for our Christmas party. We had a lot of fun. And so when we get back to work after the game, and we lost the game. So, the coaches are already they kind of already mad. We lost the game. We get back to work Monday. They like everybody getting in the bar pod. I'm like, oh, we got to get in the bar pod. So I get back in, we get in the bar pod. Somehow my body fat went up like 2 or 3%. I'm like, it's no way. It's no way. It's no way in a week. I'm like, it's no way that's possible. Like, I don't know. So the GM called me up there. He was like, yeah, Toby, I just don't think you, I don't think you serious about your job. I'm like, what you mean? He like, our strength and conditioning coaches told me that your body fat went up. Like, I'm like, what? How is that possible? Mind you, we had just came off a Christmas party. I was new to Chicago. I'm probably up there eating all Gino's pizza, whatever name of the pizza. I'm performing. So that was another like welcome to the NFL thing. Because with the Titans in Jacksonville, the Titans wasn't really on it. All the guys looked at like myself. When I got to Jacksonville, they all was a little smaller. But when I got out there to the Bears, they were bigger than me. Eddie and them, they was all like big. Eddie Goldman, all of them, they was big. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I ended up getting cut. After that right there, I was embarrassed. I came home, I was embarrassed. Because now it's like, I start having second thoughts like, man, am I good enough? Like, I know I'm good enough because I done did it. I done did it on the field. In the preseason, I graded out the number 1 D tackle my rookie year in the preseason. So it's like, I know I'm good enough, but I just don't know. I really don't know what it is. So going into that my rookie year, whatever, it's like late December. I'm getting ready to go to Arizona. I get to Arizona or whatever. I had worked out for Arizona 2 times already that year. So I go out for the 3rd time. I had told my agent, I'm like, man, I'm not working out for them again. Like, they know what I can do. It's like what it is. So I get out there. they like, okay, we're gonna sign you to a future deal. Future deal basically is like a deal basically saying we're gonna bring you to camp, you're on the contract. And so I
Right,
signed
right.
I got ready to sign the future deal. And right after I signed the future deal, Minnesota called me like, hey, you want to come out here for the last couple of games? You know, we're in the playoffs, get a chance to win the Super Bowl, all this and all that. I told my agent, I called my agent, I'm like, listen, I know I told you I was gonna sign up, but I'm gonna go to Minnesota. He's like, you wanna go to Minnesota? I'm like, listen, I'm going to Minnesota. He told me all the, everything that came with it. They had drafted BJ, had Limbaugh, Shamar, Sharif, all they was
I
loaded, man.
remember. I'm a
Like,
Vikings fan. I remember that season.
they was loaded, so in my mind, but I'm like, I'm gonna bet on myself. I'm just as good. So, me, I want to take the money too. So I'm like, I'm going out there to get the money. So I go out there. It's playoff time. We playing Seattle the year Seattle won the Super Bowl. You remember Black Mr. Kick at the old Minnesota Stadium when we played at the college. Do you remember that? When
I
he missed,
remember that.
man, one of the coldest games in NFL history. So I get out there, whatever. I'm thinking, I'm finna win the Super Bowl. We just won the NFC South. I mean NFC the North or whatever. So I'm lit. I'm thinking like I'm in a good situation. And I think Sharif had got hurt. Was it Sharif? So one of the tackles got hurt that week. So the next week I was gonna be active. So I'm like, yes. We ended up losing the game. So, the whole offseason I went back to school to try to finish my degree or whatever. So I'm training. I'm going crazy, going hard. So going into my second year, I'm with Minnesota. Get to Minnesota, that preseason, I had a great preseason too. I felt like that was another one of my best years in the league. My second year, I balled out, went crazy. In my opinion, I shouldn't even came down to the 53 or the 54th man. Going to there talking to Zim and them, they knew it too. They were saying they were scared to even bring me up because they felt like somebody was gonna claim me. So after I go up there, I ball out in preseason and stuff, and I ball out or whatever, and they called me like I actually initially I think I made the team. I made the team, and then like the day later they called me like, uh, yeah, we gonna we gotta let you go because we a linebacker, but we're gonna put you on practice squad. We want you to stay here. I'm like, at that point I'm really upset because I'm upset. I got all my all the D line brothers in my ear like Toby, no, your agent not working. Something got to be wrong. It's 2 years in a row. You done balled out. You done went crazy. Like at the time, Minnesota got a real good fan base. Like the fan base is on my side heavily. Like I got everybody like, what the world? Toby got good. Like so, I'm ready to leave at that point. I'm highly upset. I'm ready to leave, go to a different team. So I ended up staying there. Whatever they told me, keep me on practice squad. They promised me that they'd give me a credit season though, because that's real big in the league for your benefits and your 401k and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll stay here. I pretty much know all the players. I can play all three positions. So I'm like, okay, I'll stay. I ended up staying. We started off hot, 7-1. They told me we got one of the best defenses in the world. We started off hot. So them first 8 games, it was hard for me to get on the field. So I'm like, I wasn't really tripping at that time. We winning too. We won the number one team in the league. We eating. Around like week 10, a couple of injuries and stuff happened. I'm thinking I'm finna be up like around week 10 because it's like, we had 2D tackles go down, but they ended up doing B-Rob. You probably know about Robson.
Oh yeah.
They moved B-Rob inside, made him play the 3. At that point, then I'm just like, I'm highly upset because I feel like I beat out that year. I really beat out everybody but Tom Johnson. Me and Tom Johnson really had the best preseasons and the best was having like the best everything. They could Tom Johnson, TJ, both the TJ. Me and Tom really. So everybody else, I don't care. And I know Limbaugh was a Pro Bowl, All Pro. All these boys, Sharif was getting ready to get paid, but I felt like, me. I'm an undrafted guy. I'm one of the only undrafted. Actually, I was. Because they drafted BJ LeBeau, Shamar, all them. I was the only undrafted guy in the room. I felt like they was playing with me at that time. So ended up, I go upstairs because I'm mad. I don't care if I get cut. I don't care. Like, I go upstairs, talk to him, say like, okay, we're gonna bring you up, and because at the time, Sharif, he was hurt. It's something with his nerves and something. But they still had him on active instead of just putting him on injury reserve. So he was just taking up a roster spot. He taking up a roster spot. So I'm like, why is I'm not like, am I not good enough? And I was like, no. Right now we don't really know what to do. So they ended up bringing me up. I played against Green Bay. I don't feel like I played bad. I had a couple tackles or whatever. Playing that game, then come next week, end up playing against the Bears, and that pretty much wrapped our season and stuff up. But they cut me. They cut me. It was the first week they brought me up. They cut me like we getting ready to get on the plane. I'm telling you, it's the craziest stuff in the world. We getting ready to get on the plane, getting ready to go to the game, and we had just got done doing our walkthrough or whatever. We getting ready to shower, go up to the plane. They put me to the side. They're like, "Hey, Toby, we ain't cutting you, but we gotta cut you to activate Adrian Peterson at the time, AP." I was so mad, but it's like it's a Hall of Fame. It's like I
All
was so
day.
I was so upset, but it's like this AP, he a Hall of Fame guy. I'm like, man. At that point, I'm just like, man, I'm very embarrassed because it's like every time I get ready to get going, it's like something happened or something. It's like ain't nothing I'm doing because I got the film, I got the film is out there. We got everything to prove it, but I just feel like when I was in Minnesota, it ain't had nothing to do with the playing on neither side. The guys I was competing against or me, it was more so the fact that the money was wrapped up in those guys to the point where if I was a businessman, I'm gonna make the same decision. I ain't gonna even lie. But it had nothing to do with what you call. So going in after my second year, going into my third year, they drafted old boy from Iowa. I forget his name. He played with the Texans. Now they ended up drafting him, and they asking me, do I want to do the rookie minicamp? I'm like, I'm not doing no rookie minicamp. I'm going into my third year. I understand I was on practice squad almost. I'm not doing no rookie minicamp. At this point, I'm telling everybody, I feel like I'm gonna start this year. I got this much confidence. Like I'm like, my confidence is through the roof. I'm like, man, I'm starting this shit. Like, well, talking to Dre, all them, they like, you got a chance. You come in and do what you got to do. So the all season workouts, I'm killing it, going crazy, killing it. But I think with me telling them that I didn't really want to, because I forget the dude's name. I didn't really want to. I was being like a salty. There's a lot of salty vets in the league. I won't say I was one of them guys, but that was a point in my life where it was like, man, I had to figure it out. Y'all just gave this boy 700 some thousand. Y'all just drafted him. He ain't do nothing yet. This man here, I ain't make half of that in my career yet. So it's like, why would I help him? Like he got to come in, he got to figure it out like me. So I was more so on the fact like, man, I ain't doing rookie minicamp. Like if he want to ask me something, he need help, we can do it while we at work. But as far as going rookie minicamp, I ain't doing it. So after that, all that went down and all that, Zim pulled me off. He was like, man, Toby, you did everything you can do here. Everybody in the building love you. If it's anything, that they can do to help me, they'll do it. So they ended up releasing me or whatever. But for some odd reason, I guess they had, I don't know if you can trade guys or whatever, but they had already knew who was going to claim me because before I left out the office or whatever, he was telling me like, yeah, one of my guys are like you a lot. So I pretty much know you finna go somewhere.
So, Toby, talking through Minnesota and then you moved to Carolina. What happened there? And can you just talk me through that?
Yeah. So yeah, when I got to Carolina after they claimed me or whatever, I get to Carolina and I'm like super happy because now I feel like I'm with a team now that they carry 9 to 10 D linemen. So when you hear a team carry 9 to 10 D linemen, they believe in stopping the run, getting out the quarterback. Like their big main motto over there was, quarterbacks, the ones who, get paid all the money. That's the most important player on the field, but the next most important player is the person that gets to the quarterback, who can affect the quarterback. So they preach D line, and so I'm happy. Like, Coach Washington or whatever, they the Bills coach, and he the DC or whatever, the Bills and stuff now. He's so excited about me. As soon as I get there, I get into I'm upstairs, filling out my paperwork, contract stuff and all that. And he pulled me out of there. I just got done talking with the GM, and he already got me on the screen like this. I watched you so much over. He had been telling me, like, he'd been watching me for the last 2 years. He'd been waiting on a moment where he can come steal me from these guys, put me in his system and all that. So it was like a breath of fresh air, man. It was like, man, this dude really liked me, because he had already a whole clip of just plays from, preseason, even plays that I didn't make. He had it already on the board, like, hey, why didn't you do this right here? Like, what could you have done right there? So it was like, man, they had to know, they knew exactly who they had got as a player and stuff like that. So I was just happy to be there. Get there, I had a real good summer there. Did a lot of good things, to the point where, I was moved up to the two. Some days I'd be getting ones reps, so I was doing real good. So after camp or whatever, we had camp in, I think, Marbury. It was in North Carolina, Wolford Academy. It was at Wolford, whatever it is. So we get out there, man. First 2 days, we doing good. Second day, we had the conditioning test. We must have ran the conditioning test. It was easy. It was probably like 20, 40s or something. It was easy. And I pulled my quad. So it's like, I popped my quad. So it's like, man,
It's always something.
It's always something. And they looking at it like, this guy been chilling, because, muscle pulls, hamstrings, stuff like that. For some odd reason in the NFL, they are big on, they like, stuff like that only happen because guys haven't been working out, or in my mind, I feel like a hamstring would be something for you going too hard, but in their mind, it's total opposite. They find you for stuff like that in the NFL. So,
Wow.
so I'm like, man, pull my thing, but they liked me so much. Everybody else, they hadn't cut. You got hurt in camp, what's called, you was gone. Like that, the same day you was gone. These people really kept me the whole time. For basically, I would just show up to work for 2 or 3 months, just rehabbing, being around the team and all that. So that made me feel so much better about being there and stuff. So I could have took the money in this situation too. A lot of I ain't gonna say their names, but I had a lot of OGs that played at Georgia. And Carolina was full of Georgia boys at the time. I think we had 7 Georgia boys on the team at the time. And they were just telling me, like, look, like, man, we loaded. A couple on with some D linemen, so you know how that is. So, like, they don't want you down. They got a family to feed. They don't want this young boy.
Right.
Just take the money. I'm like, nah, I ain't taking the money. Like, nah, Coach Washington, these people love me up here. Like, oh my God, I'm finna forget his name. What the Redskins head coach name?
Right now, Rivera?
Yeah, Coach Rivera liked me, like, loved me. He told me, he was like, don't panic, Toby, like, just rehab, get yourself right. You come out and do what you gotta do. The last preseason game, you'll be good. So I told all the guys that, the guys like, oh no, that's how they gonna get you. That's how they gonna get you. You go out there and play in that game, you ain't gonna be able to get that money and all that. I'm like, nah, I ain't hearing none of that, man. I'm a competitive at the end. I'm a competitor at the end of the day. So I got cleared like 2 days before the game, literally. It got cleared 2 days before the last preseason game. So instead of me taking the money and stuff like that, I was like, what, I'm gonna go out here and bet on myself, prove myself. I go out there and I dominate this game. Like I go out there and I'm shocked. I'm shocked at myself, because I haven't played football in 3-4 months. I'm like, of course, the plays and stuff coming so much faster, because I'm basically watching coach it, and I'm putting more time and energy into it now, because I'm from the sideline. I can see more stuff. So I dominate the game. The very next day, I get a call. Basically, me and my agent thinking I done made the team. So we like, oh no, you good. He live in Carolina. We chilling. We got our feet up. We were actually gonna go get some food. I just knew I made the team once again. Third year in a row, I get the call. I'm like, man, what's up?
Not again.
Not again. I'm like, they like Coach Rivera want to talk to you and all. So I go up there, I'm talking to him, and they were like, Toby, man, you made a lot of plays today, but we want you to go home and try to just rehab. I'm like, if I want to rehab, I should have took the money and rehab. Like I told him, like, if I want to rehab, I should have took the money and rehab. And could have like, no, right now we just gonna we ain't gonna keep no D lineman this year on the practice squad. I'm like, what? So yeah, the first couple of weeks we ain't gonna keep no D lineman. We'll call you back. So I ended up leaving Carolina. At this point, I'm devastated because it's like my OGs didn't try to tell me. They'd have tried to tell me how the NFL works. Just take the money. So boom, I'm working hard. I'm working hard during the season. I start having a lot more workouts. Once again, flying here, flying there, flying to Oakland, flying here, doing this, doing. So the Raiders had told me they was like they were gonna sign me if I didn't get signed. And they're gonna sign me to a future. So I'm like, man, I gotta wait a whole another year. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. So I worked out with the Lions 3 times. Like, this is no over exaggerating. Like I worked out with them, Arizona, the Raiders, the Lions, the Lions, who else? In Arizona, three different times within 2 years. Like there was no over exaggerating. So I get to the Raiders. I'm about to sign with the Raiders. And yeah, I'm about to sign with the Raiders, but call me like, listen, we're gonna give you another sign. We're gonna give you we're gonna sign you, but we ain't gonna give you no signing bonus. So I'm like, how you gonna sign me then? They were like, we'll just give you 2 weeks worth of checks for the one day. Like, we'll give you 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Cause now it's like, y'all showing me, in my mind, it really shouldn't have been like that, but I was young. I didn't know. I feel like whoever offered you the most money wants you the most. But that was really not the case in a lot of situations. A lot of stuff just can't happen like that. And so I go out there to Detroit. I ended up signing with Detroit like the last 2 days of the regular season. Ended up doing all that, and so I with Detroit, well, that's going into my 4th year. So I know this a make or break year. Detroit is like, man, yeah, this a make or break year. So I'm like, I gotta do what I gotta do. So that off season, I'm in summer workouts. I'm fighting for my life at this point. I'm leaving everybody in all the runs, and I'm doing everything I can do to make an impression. So we had got Matt Patricia in them. I don't know if you heard about how that went down in Detroit when he first got there.
I heard
So
about it.
and so he first got there, he was trying to break us. He said the whole team was sorry. He would embarrass like some of our star players like Stafford and Slay and them guys. We talking about $100 million guys, and he embarrassing them. And so then if he embarrassed them, it's like, man, then nobody really have no leeway. So I get out there, I'm doing all I can do, but they liking me because I'm a hard worker and all that. So they liking me. Boom. So I ended up getting hurt against the Browns or whatever in preseason or whatever, and that really, I think that shook up some things because now there's like, this guy can't stay healthy. This guy getting hurt every year. We giving him chance after chance after chance, and he getting, and I made a mistake. I won't say I made a mistake because at this point there was one of my good friends, Sylvester Williams. He was on the team at the time. He was telling me like, if you take the money, Toby, they'll keep giving you chances now, but if you take the money in this situation, it's gonna be hard for you to get back in the league. And I took the money. I took the money this go around because I know it's my 4th year. All this stuff was going on. It's like I couldn't stay healthy, so I didn't really know. I couldn't afford to sit out a whole. I couldn't do that. Like I just could not do that again. So I ended up taking the money where I got the injury settlement. Tennessee called me again like around like week 4, but I wasn't cleared to go yet. And ever since then, it's just been like I feel like me and my agent really haven't seen out of me because I feel like he thinking like I'm faking injury. If I fake the injury, I can just take the money every year and won't have to just deal with it. But it went so. Yeah, that's pretty much been like my NFL what you call like story, man. Just not being able to stay healthy. Doing knowing I got the talent, coaches and stuff, knowing I got the talent, the scouts, everybody, getting all these workouts and stuff. But it's like can't stay on the field. You can't stay on the field as an undrafted guy. You can flash here and there, but they as an undrafted guy, they want to see it every single day. And me being out the I pride myself now. Since I left the NFL, I have never missed a game, never none of that stuff in so many years. I've never missed a game, so I never really
That's really impressive.
yeah, I
Yeah,
never
so obviously that kind of wrapped up your NFL journey part, at least up until this point. But I mean, you didn't stop playing. You've been grinding ever since. I mean,
yeah.
we've got the whole NAL story of the Massachusetts Pirates, and then the XFL with the New York Guardians, and you're playing there, you're balling out there, and then all of a sudden COVID-19 comes around. I don't know if you heard of COVID-19, but it was kind of a big deal a few years ago.
Yeah.
Shut down the league. And at that point, for one, could you take me through the process of playing in the XFL? And then secondly, like when the league shut down, like, did you think that might be it? Like that could just be the end of your career?
Okay. Yeah. So after 2018, so 2019, I'm still working out for teams and stuff in the NFL, but they had this other league called the Alliance League. It's called the AAF or something like that.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
expecting to be, fresh out the league. I'm expecting to be one of the guys. I'm like, right here in Atlanta, I can just go here in Atlanta. And Billy, who is my GM now with the Guardians, was the GM for that team. So I'm like, why can I not get in the Alliance League? So at this point, I'm devastated. I'm like, these guys not even on my level. Why can I not get in the? And so I
Right.
had to go. So I ended up. I don't know if y'all know this. I had to go play in this other league in Jacksonville called the York Hall Football League. I don't know if you ever heard of, but
I don't think I've ever heard of that. No.
yeah, basically it was a league where the fans control the plays. Like they can call the plays from online.
Oh, actually, yes. I know
Yeah.
what you're referring to now. Like
So
it was like the precursor to what fan control football is right now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, they would. So basically, we would test dummies. So they were testing it out on us. So I was out there in Jacksonville at the Jaguars facility or whatever doing that. So that's kind of how Jawad, the Pirates, found me because I wanted never played arena. So they found me and a couple more of the other guys out there. So I wanted to play the arena ball in the NAL. I feel like I played pretty good. I did real good out there. Um, After that, right there, it was kind of like a shocker then at that point because now it's like, man, I couldn't get in the Alliance League. I just came to the NAL and I done balled out one because I think I was top 2 in the league in sacks, 7 in the regular season, 2 in the playoff. It's like, man, what am I gonna do? Like, what am I gonna do? The GM Jawad of the Pirates, he kind of told me like, you just go home and train and just get ready. They finna come up with this XFL league thing, this XFL league. So I'm like, okay, I'm hyped. I'm hyped. I'm like, okay, cool. Finna go to the XFL, finna dominate it, and I'm gonna be back on my way. So I go to the XFL. I ended up another thing happened. I was training or whatever. I ain't get drafted in the regular draft. Did you know that? I ended
I
up
did not.
I ended up getting drafted in the supplemental draft. I'm crying because I'm embarrassed. I'm like, oh no, like I didn't get drafted into the XFL. I had to get drafted into the supplemental draft, so I'm embarrassed. So I go to New York, go down to New York or whatever. We had a pretty good D line too. We had Savon Walker, TJ Barnes. I don't know if you heard of these guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah, TJ
M
just
Boom,
won the XFL championship.
they just one check. M
Yeah,
Boom,
yeah.
Booming. He was with the Redskins. He just finished it. So we was loaded. Just make a long story, we was loaded. Him, me, and Ryan. Ryan was on our team too. He just won championship, so we was loaded. Get out there, we had a good D line, and when I got there, it was a shocker to me too. They TJ and M, they told me I was gonna be the third D tackle. I'm like, hold up here now. At this point, it didn't really woke me up because now it's like, man, I gotta go through all this stuff. I know I belong in the NFL, but now I'm in a league below the NFL. You mean tell me I'm gonna be coming off the bench? I'm embarrassed. So all during camp, I'm killing it at camp. I'm having a good year. I'm killing it. So we get to the season or whatever. First 2 or 3 games, the first game I played okay. Second game I pretty much stamped it. Second game I went off. Third game I did good. Fourth game, so we played 5 games and they ended up getting shut down or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Due to COVID. At this point, I'm kind of lost. But I go to Orlando. I start training in Orlando for a couple months in the team Carolina, who's with the Bills now. They was at the Bills at the time. But that's how I know. You remember I told you I felt like the Carolina team, they liked me the most out of all the NFL teams. They called me. They was like, you know what, Toby, we seen what you did in the XFL. We're gonna bring you down here for a workout. I'm like this. I'm like, I'm finna go down here and I'm finna do what I gotta do and all that. I told them that I was 315 pounds. And when I got down there, I was 325, and that rubbed them wrong. They was like, man, like you ain't have to lie to us. Like, we had kept in touch over the years, over the year that I was out. And Coach Washington just couldn't get over the fact that I lied to him about it. And I tried my best. I had quarantine for a whole week, 5 days basically, in the hotel. So I ran every day for 5 days, no water, just running, trying to make this weight. And I didn't make the weight, and that pretty much that hurt me though. That hurt me bad because I knew that was the only team that I could just call. I can pick up and just call him like, "What's up, Cole?" I can just pick up and call him anytime he want to talk ball or tell me what he saw in the game. We had that type of relationship, and I burnt that relationship. So it's like, man, what I'm gonna do now? So ended up coming back home, training and stuff after that workout, and I did good in the workout. But they were just so adamant about why tell them I was that way, because at the point they was looking for I won't say a 3 technique, but they were looking for more so of a big end. It's different
Right.
between the 3, and that's what they want. And they from my film and the videos I sent them, I had the quickness. I looked it like I was that small because I hadn't lost so much weight. I had lost like 30 pounds, 40 pounds. So but left there. So at this point, I'm like, I gotta go back and play arena ball in 2021. I'm like, I'm finna go out here and this is gonna be my last go round. I'm finna go out here and do everything I can possibly do, and go from there. So 2021, I went back to Massachusetts, played pretty good or whatever. We ended up winning the championship. And I started getting some more buzz in the NFL. I was gonna have a workout with the Redskins. Boom, got ready for the workout to come around. I ain't take the COVID. I ain't take the vaccine. Whatever thing was the vaccine. So that killed me again. So it's like I had to go took the thing. I went and took the shot or whatever. And then but you had to wait like 14 days or something to get the next one. So I did the Johnson & Johnson, I think. Whichever one I did, I forgot. I know I took the thing, but that killed.
What a time to be alive.
Man. So 2021, I was dealing with that. So played a good year and all. So I started, like I said, I started picking up a lot more buzz. 2022, my coaches I had from the XFL was some of the coaches that was gonna be in the USFL. So they called me. They was like, they was gonna draft me and all that. But they actually did. They drafted me.
Mm-hmm.
Out there. I've been with the Generals ever since. Doing what I can do because they took a chance on me. And got like our coaching staff, man, our coaching staff, they really are good people, man, good guys that you want to play for. So that's kind of why I feel like I'm comfortable. I don't got nothing to really, I don't got nothing over my head now. Was like, having to try to prove yourself. Man, I'm 30 years old. I don't need that on me no more. Like I wouldn't mind going back to the NFL, but I'm at peace with it if I don't never play again. I
Right.
still have NFL coaches contact me. Like the Giants D-line coach told me out his own mouth, Coach Patterson, like, he's still on the table for me. But it's not more so of them, it's the GMs and stuff that, you know, not wanting to do it right now, not wanting to do it no more because of age or whatever. I don't really know. But right now I'm an NFL player, man. Like it's not 32 guys in the NFL better than me at my position. And I stand on the table behind that. We can pull up the film. We can ask a lot of the guys that's in the NFL, and they'll tell you, like, man, not only do I supposed to be in the league, I feel like I'm supposed to be starting in the league now. But it's
I,
cool.
I, I think that's a pretty logical assumption to make. I mean, you look at what you've done in the USFL these past 2 seasons, 2 times all USFL. Season one was a great year. I think it was like, if I'm looking at the numbers here, 35 tackles, a couple of sacks there. And then this year, like, you built upon that with over 40 tackles, a few tackles for loss, and a few sacks as well. Do you think you're playing the best football of your career right now in the USFL?
I definitely do. Being that they give me a lot of freedom too, and they believe like I always had the confidence in myself, and I always kind of had like the coaching staff that even when I was at Georgia that knew I was the guy. Like they pretty much gave me the keys, and I feel like this is my first time at a professional level where they were just like, they just handed me the keys outside the arena. They just handed me the keys. When I was at Georgia, my senior, they did the same thing. So it's like having on top of people that believe in you. And, it's easy to play then. It's super easy to play. Make guys around you better.
Right. Right. And, to add on to that, you've had a couple of, I guess, opposite seasons in the USFL as a team. 2022, 9-1, primed to go to the championship, which unfortunately didn't happen. But then this year, you reloaded the roster. Things seemed like they were heading in a good direction. And then there was 5 losses in the middle of the season. Can you take me through that and just the process of kind of dealing with the ups and downs in the USFL the last couple of years?
Yeah. To be honest, that was my first year I ever lost in my whole life. Like, I never had a losing season, so it kind of depressed me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. You know, being that we got guys on the team that I felt like I won't say they peaked, but they just saying when they took that win bonus out, I felt like guys just ain't had the same hunger, like the same, you know, that's how I felt. And I tell them today, I tell the coaches, I tell everybody, it's just they need to put that back in the faith. And I tell there, I done told plenty of people like they're right there. I feel like gonna hurt the league in the long run because the guys, they ain't hungry enough. They ain't getting on each other. It's like the check gonna hit every week, so it's not do or die trying. And back in the XFL, back in 2020. Well, the win bonus was a big difference because in the last year, well, the last year it wasn't really that big. It was like 1,000, but 2020 the win bonus was like 3,000 or some dollars. Like that it
Right.
matters.
That's a
Guys,
big check. That's a big check. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like I feel like they need to put that back in the because it make the talent level higher too. You kind of want to keep the talent level high. You keep guys out there that's hungry, ready to play, not guys just comfortable, happy to be there. I feel like we had a lot of guys, and not just on our team, just in the whole league, just happy to be there, like happy to say, okay, I'm playing professional football, getting paid for. We need the talent to go up year to year. We need guys to be working on the game, getting better year to year, including myself though. Including myself. I ain't gonna eliminate myself. I can say I got comfortable a little bit, not with my play, but like just on the everyday life throughout the season, knowing that it was gonna hit. I ain't had nothing to worry about. The first couple of games I'm mad because I ain't used to losing. But after that, it's like, man, what more can I do? I'm finna lose my teammates. I'm finna do all that stuff trying to, curse them or, I was turning into somebody I wasn't because I wasn't used to losing. And, I'm just like, man, I'm gonna still get paid. That kind
Right.
of
Right.
You gonna still get paid, but that's the wrong mindset to have. Like it's terrible. But I feel like this year we're gonna, if I decide to come back, we're gonna shake back. And I see a lot of the guys. We talk still every day, like we did last year. A lot of guys talk about things we could have improved on and stuff like that. So hopefully, guys, practice what they preach. I mean, practice what they preach. A lot of
Right.
us, y'all have our different opinions and stuff about what we could have done throughout the season, but with a lot of different faces, I expect leaders and stuff to step up and lead by example. You can't be having new guys. I don't care how good a new guy is. I expect guys that have been there to lead by example. Just because he may be better than you, that don't mean you sit back and not say nothing. So I feel like we had a lot of that going on. So
Gotcha.
with a lot of new faces. So, but
Yeah,
it's
no,
cool.
that's really interesting. And I'd be curious to hear your thoughts real quick on like because you've been in, I mean, so many of these leagues between the XFL, the Arena, the USFL, and it is a unique time to be alive for a professional athlete like yourself in football where you have other avenues now. You have options. Like it's not NFL or bust anymore. Like you can continue your career in the USFL, the XFL. What has your experience been like in the USFL and just how it compares to some of the other leagues you've been in?
Yeah, that's pretty much why I say I'm at peace with everything too. Knowing that no matter what, I'm gonna have a source of income coming in no matter what. But as far as the USFL different than the XFL, it's a difference. Not I can say the biggest difference would be more so like the because I feel like we did have a lot of talent in the XFL, but I feel like we have a lot more younger guys in this league. So we have a lot more young guys and guys that can actually play. Back when the XFL was going on, back when we was it was a lot. We had a lot older. We had a lot of guys that were older. We ain't had no kids fresh out of college and stuff like we did. So I think the USFL doing a good job, and I feel like that'll help build. You get a guy fresh out of college, he got a little buzz. Say for instance, he a quarterback or somebody. It's easy for fans to follow a quarterback or a guy that got a good receiver, a good in any position. It's
Right.
easy for like fans follow certain players. Like if you're good enough, you was good enough in college, and I feel like that's gonna help our league grow more and more and more. More so than the XFL. You had guys that was been on the street 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So it's like, it's kind of even though he met probably was good in college, but he been sitting around for 4 or 5 years. So ain't
Right.
nobody really. It'll be hard to keep up with that. You kind of have to have guys that it's a marketing thing too, and I feel like the USFL do a good job marketing guys and keeping the talent level, across the board. I mean, with the age difference in, guys fresh out of college. So I feel like that's a good thing. That's why I'm more so attracted to the USFL too, because you have a lot of these fans and stuff talking like, oh man, these college teams are coming in to beat the USFL or the XFL teams, and these guys be superstars in college. Like I can't tell you how many I know that play in the USFL. D lineman too, and they get to the USFL, the XFL, they just be it's a guy on the toe, just a just a normal guy, and I feel like that helps show keep us relevant because a lot of these fans don't really know. They don't really know. They think they're just some old made up league and all that. They don't really be
Right.
knowing that the leagues got a lot of draft picks. A lot of us played a lot of years in the league. A lot of us, so it'd be. I'm just
Right.
happy to see the talent level like that because we have older guys like myself, but we also had the younger guys, and I think that's gonna help. Like I said, pull a lot of them college fans. College fans and older fans. They're gonna help grow the league.
Absolutely. And I mean, to your point, I mean, someone like yourself is proof that there's professional athletes in this league, right? I mean, you're someone who has done it at the NFL level. I'd be curious to know your thoughts real quick on, you know, not just the talent levels in the USFL, but like you played 2 seasons now. Has there been like a player in particular, or maybe a team in particular that you've just been like, man, they are tough to slow down?
The only team I can really think about that I can honestly say would be Birmingham for the simple fact that I just love both quarterbacks. Like I love Jamar and I love what you call it. These guys are. Alex didn't really get a chance. I was telling people before the season, like Alex, he just special in so many ways because of the fact that how he can come in the game and just boom spark the game. Our coach called him Jamal Crawford. And I don't know if you're into basketball and stuff like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Jamal
Sixth
Crawford's the
man of the
type of guy
year.
who would come off the bench and he would just rock it. Like he can just shut the game. He can get going and guys feed off him. And that's kind of what he was. And Jamal more so the same thing. Like they can both make all the throws. They can beat you with their feet. They smart. Coach believe in them to just call whatever play they want to. So that makes it harder too. When you got, it's easy to play against a coach. It's hard to play against a player who know their playbook, know it inside and out, know the guys they got around them. So that makes it harder. It's easy to go be the coach. This coach like dudes on third down, first, second down, but it's harder when you got a coach and a player, and you got this guy, you got this player here, got the he touching the football every time. He can tell the coach like, "Oh, we're gonna run this right here. Oh, they can't guard this right here. He out there. He playing up against us." So Birmingham probably be the team I see on offense that we have a hard time. Which even though they put up crazy points on a lot of people. I think the last couple of games, they won game by one. But this year, they really 17 points. That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
They whooped us they whooped us. So yeah. And I'm just a big fan of both of them quarterbacks. And I like Philly quarterback a lot too. I feel like he don't get enough, Cook. He don't get enough credit for what he's able to do. I feel like this year they try to put a lot more talent around him at the receiver position. I feel like they had one of the top, if not the top receiver group in the league. But I feel like
Yeah, yeah,
him.
Corey Coleman. I mean, he led the league in receiving yards. He's a guy that I think definitely could head back to the NFL after having after such a good year.
Yeah, so I like I like the quarterbacks that we got, and that's a staple of the league. I feel like the league in good hands with the quarterbacks, and that's pretty much what it is. A lot of good defensive players though. People I get a lot of the buzz around the league for us defensive line, but I like a lot of defensive guys, especially D line. You got the boy from Memphis, Milano. I mean, not Memphis, but Michigan. You got John from Memphis. You got Boogie, Big Olive. You got Reggie. You got the guy Shaw that played beside him. He actually second in the league in sacks. Man,
Hmm.
it's so many good defensive linemen in the league. Hercules, both of the guys I got. It's so many good defensive linemen in the league. Like I said, I get a lot of the buzz, rightfully so, because over the years I've been doing it for so long, and when you've been doing it for so long, it's like people, all your people playing to try to stop you, and and I just keep getting better and better. But it's a lot of you guys around here good too. I just feel like people don't pay attention to them as much. So
Right. No, that's a great point. I mean, as you said, so much defensive talent in the USFL. I think it's an underappreciated storyline. I mean, New Jersey's got an excellent defense with some of the guys you got there. I mean, you look at and a couple of guys that just resigned, like Chris Orr, Paris Ford, DeJuan Hines,
yeah,
some of these guys that yeah, you guys are stacked defensively. Pittsburgh, I mean, their defense was outstanding this year. Jaron Horton, assistant coach of the year for a reason. I'm sure we'll see some of those guys head to the NFL or at least a camp or something. But yeah, no, right on.
yeah,
It's great to see so much parity across the league. It's especially in the USFL. It felt like even when you guys were 3-6 or 3-7 or whatever, it still felt like at any given moment you could have beat any team. It's not like we've seen in the past in a couple of these leagues where the 1-8 team, we just they're not going to beat the top team. But in the USFL, at any week, anything could happen. So I think that's a really neat aspect of the league.
you can't ain't no off days, and that's one thing I can't. Yeah, it wasn't no off days in the USFL, and I feel like even the first year we was in the USFL, we was winning all the games. But think about it, we was winning games by 1 point, one possession game. There's a lot of them games where they was nail biters. And that's one thing you can't say about it. There ain't finna be a lot of blowouts and stuff. How you see in the other leagues But guys
Right.
getting 40 points. I mean, Birmingham did that a couple times, but ain't nobody else really doing that in the leagues. The game's gonna be close, and like you said, the talent level pretty much spread it out. I was reading the thing when Daryl said that when they did the all USFL selection and stuff, it had like at least two guys from each team. So I'm like, yeah, that goes to show you like the talent is spread it out. No matter if it's a kicker or a quarterback, whatever. Like every team got somebody that stands out on the team. That's good for us.
Right on. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, across the board, there's so much talent. It's great to see a platform being provided for guys like you and all these other players to just have a chance to get game reps and put it on film. So you're a busy guy. I appreciate all the time you've given me today. I got one final question for you here. You've had so many ups and downs throughout your career. You've gone through so much hardship. What are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way, just about yourself, about life in general, that came through the game of football?
Just work hard. Like in 2020, I said, with the COVID situation, everybody was mad how all this stuff went down, but I felt like it was the best thing that ever happened to me because, it introduced the man to himself. I had to go get my first job, and I had to really, I really, I moved out the house. I had been, even though I was in the league, I come home and also just I'd be at home. I have an apartment wherever I'm at, but I'd be at home. So, I moved out. I had to do, a lot of stuff. I had to really, football just told me just work hard, keep your head down, work hard, treat people the right way because you never know who you may need, and perseverance. And my favorite saying is, in due time. I feel like whatever's supposed to happen gonna happen. Just gotta keep your head down, keep working, and if it's meant to happen, it's gonna happen. And if it don't happen, it wasn't meant to happen. So just be at peace with everything and just work hard, man. You never know because working hard has opened so many doors for me. Like I don't know what it is, but it's like I said, this the back end of my career. But for some odd reason, even though guys that I done got cut from teams or all type of stuff that happen, they always be like, man, Toby is a hard worker. Like Toby is a good leader. Toby this, Toby that. So no, just working hard, they're gonna carry you, far. Coach Horton was my DC when I was in Tennessee, from Pittsburgh. And he still remember it'd be stuff like that was like, man, that was almost 10 years ago. And they just remember stuff like that because, with certain guys, they don't forget it. Just working hard gonna open up a lot of doors for you, outside of football too. Networking, building relationships and stuff. So that's kind of been the thing football taught me, to network, treat people the right way and work hard, and everything else gonna take care of itself.
I love it. As a fan, as someone who covers this league, I really appreciate and admire, your dedication to the game and just what you do week in and week out. And who knows, maybe we'll get to see you again next year. But yeah, anyways, Toby, thank you so much for joining us today on this special episode of the USFL podcast. And is there anything else you'd like to add, or think we should wrap it up here?
No, that's pretty much everything. You really got pretty much everything.